Terraxis Prime was quiet after the attack. Smoke rose from the cities, buildings were broken, streets were empty. The people who had survived were hiding. They had never seen a war like this. They had never seen soldiers like these. The human soldiers moved fast and worked together like machines. They spoke few words. They used hand signals and finished fights in seconds. No one stood a chance. They wore dark armor that could stop lasers and fire. Their boots crushed stone. Their weapons were not fancy, but they were deadly. At the front of the ground troops was Commander Mason Holt. He was strong, tall, and serious. His eyes looked like they had seen many battles. He did not smile. He only gave orders and moved forward. When one of the city walls tried to close, Holt pulled a small launcher from his back. One shot was enough. The wall fell. Inside the capital, the last guards tried to fight. They shouted and fired their weapons. Holt did not stop. His soldiers moved through the streets and cleared every building. The fighting lasted just 3 hours. The last guard dropped his gun and fell to his knees. When it was over, Holt walked into the main hall. The leaders of the planet stood there, scared and shaking, looked at them with cold eyes. One of them asked, "What do you want?" Holt pointed at the flag of the planet and said, "That is over. From today, you serve the Earth's dominion." They did not argue. They bowed their heads. Outside, a new flag rose above the city. It was black and silver, with the mark of Earth in the center. The same flag was sent to every screen across the planet. Then a message came. It showed the face of Queen General Laura Blake. Her voice was strong. She said, "This is not the end. This is only the start. One planet has fallen. Many more will follow. We are not your past. We are your future. Kneel or burn." The message ended. Across the galaxy, people watched in silence. The name human was no longer just an old story. It was real now, and it was coming for them. The fires were still burning across Terraxis Prime. Smoke covered the sky. The streets were full of dust, broken glass, and fear. The people had no idea what would happen next. Some hid in basements. Others sat in silence, waiting for orders. The soldiers in black armor walked through every city, street by street, checking every corner. No one could stop them. Commander Mason Holt stood in the city square. His armor was scratched, but strong. His face was calm, like he had done this many times before. Around him, human soldiers took control of every building. They moved fast and said little. Holt raised his hand and pointed toward the last defense station. A team of soldiers moved in without speaking. The station had guards. They tried to fight, but their weapons did nothing. Human armor was too strong. Human training was too sharp. The guards were on the ground within minutes. No soldier from Earth was lost. Holt walked through the broken door, looked at the control room and said one word, "Clear." In the command tower, Holt looked out over the city. Fires burned in the distance. Sirens cried in the wind. A captain beside him asked, "What now?" Holt answered, "Now we hold. A queen will speak soon." Back in orbit, the warship Iron Resolve circled the planet like a silent shadow. Inside the command room, Queen General Laura Blake stood at the center. Her black coat was heavy with metals. Her voice was steady and cold. Officers watched her with full attention. She looked at the screen showing the burning planet and said, "Terraxis is only the first." They laughed when they heard our name. They will not laugh again. She gave the order. A broadcast was sent across space. Every system near Terraxis received the message. It showed the flag of Earth, then the face of Queen Blake. She said, "We are not a memory. We are the truth you forgot. You thought we were weak. You thought we were gone. But now, we return. This is not a war. This is a correction. Surrender or be destroyed." The message reached every station and every ship. People stared at their screens, afraid to speak. The legend of humans had come back, and this time it was real. Across the nearby systems, fear began to grow. The message from Earth had reached every corner. People whispered the word human like it was a curse. Many had heard the old stories. Some had laughed at them. Now no one laughed. The fall of Terraxis Prime was proof. The humans were real, and they were not peaceful. Leaders from many worlds came together in a hidden meeting. They spoke in low voices. Some wanted to run. Others wanted to hide. But one man stood up. His name was Arain Deleuze. He had once commanded a great army before he lost his home to a civil war. Now he had a new reason to fight. "They will not stop," Arain said. "They do not come for land. They come for control. If we wait, we die one by one. We must strike back." Some in the room agreed. Some stayed silent. But Arain did not wait. He left that night with his ship and sent messages to other fighters. He knew they needed something more than just hope. They needed strength. He began to search for lost weapons, hidden bases, and forgotten allies. At the same time, the humans kept moving forward. One by one, small planets fell. Some tried to resist. They were crushed in days. Some gave up and opened their gates. They were spared, but watched closely. Human soldiers stayed in every city. Black flags were raised. Earth ruled without mercy. Commander Mason Holt led many of the battles. He was known for his speed and power. People said he could break walls with his fists. Others said he had never lost a fight. No one could prove those stories were false. But not all humans were soldiers. Some worked behind the lines. Engineers, doctors, and builders followed the army. They repaired roads and set up control towers. They made the new rule permanent. People were not just afraid, they were trapped. Still, some planets whispered Arain's name. They said he was building something, a force strong enough to fight back. A small spark against the fire. Shh. Queen General Laura Blake heard those whispers. Shh. She looked at the stars on her map and marked a red circle where she thought Arain would rise. "Let him come. Let him come. I want to crush him myself." The planet Celis was rich, proud, and well-armed. Its leaders believed they could stop the humans. Their cities were built on stone towers, high in the sky. Their weapons were sharp and fast. Their soldiers were trained from birth. When they saw the human fleet arrive, they did not hide. They stood tall and sent out a warning. Queen General Laura Blake watched the message on the main screen of her warship. The leader of Celis said, "This is our land. We will not take it. Turn back or face destruction." Laura said nothing for a moment. Then she turned to her officers and gave a short order. "Send in Project Talon." Project Talon was not a fleet, it was a team. A small group of humans trained in secret. They did not fight with armies. They moved in silence, fast and deadly. Their mission was simple: remove the heads of power. That night, the sky over Celis was quiet. No ships attacked. No bombs dropped. People thought the humans had left. But inside the tallest tower, a silent shadow moved. Then another. By morning, the 9 rulers of Celis were dead. Each one taken out without a sound. No one saw who did it. No guards raised an alarm. One young leader, barely more than a boy, was left alive. He was pulled from his bed and brought before Queen General Blake. She stood on the ground now in full armor. Her face was hard and cold. The boy looked at her with wide, shaking eyes. She said, "You are not king anymore. You are a messenger. Go and tell the galaxy what happened here." He nodded quickly. He was sent back to his people carrying nothing but fear. Across Celis, the people lowered their weapons. Soldiers dropped their guns. The black flag of Earth rose above every tower. Human soldiers took positions in the streets. The galaxy watched closely. Celis had been strong. Now it was quiet. In the command room of her ship, Laura Blake looked at the map again. More systems waited ahead. More fire would come. She spoke to her officers. "Let the stars remember. We are not guests. We are not shadows. We are rulers now." Arain Deleuze stood in the dark room, staring at the war map. Red marks showed all the worlds taken by humans. Blue marks showed the few that remained free. There were not many. He closed his hands into fists. The galaxy was falling fast. Humans were not just winning, they were crushing everything in their path. But Arain was not ready to give up. He had gathered fighters from broken empires, smugglers, soldiers, outlaws, and old captains who had lost their homes. He called it the Unity Pact. Many laughed at first, but after Celis fell, they stopped laughing. They were ready to fight. He had a plan. One world called Valterian had strong gravity and deep canyons. Human machines would not move easily there. Arain and his team built traps and towers hidden in the rocks. They waited. Soon, The human fleet arrived, just like he expected. At first, the Unity forces did well. They used the land to their advantage. Human ships could not fly low. Their tanks were too heavy. For the first time, it looked like the humans might lose. But then Commander Mason Holt stepped onto the battlefield. He brought a new kind of machine. It was tall, dark, and walked like a giant man. It was built to crush gravity. Its steps shook the ground. Human soldiers followed behind. The machines cleared the traps. The towers fell one by one. Arain fought with everything he had, stood in the front lines, swinging his blade, calling orders, refusing to back down. He watched his people fall around him. Still, he did not run. Then it happened. Queen General Laura Blake landed on Valtarian. She was not hiding in her ship. She came to fight. Her black armor glowed in the dust. Her blade burned hot in her hand. She pushed through the last line of defense. Arain saw her from a distance. He wanted to face her. But one of his officers pulled him back. He was bleeding. The battle was lost. He escaped with only a few ships. But he did not leave empty-handed. One of his spies had found something. A set of old records. Beside them was a name. A place no one had touched for years. The name was Earth, and now he knew where to strike. The Unity Pact had lost many battles, but Arundel had not lost hope. After the fall of Altarian, his people were broken, but not finished. Deep inside a hidden ship, Arain held the secret he had stolen. It was the location of Earth, the home of the humans. No one had been there in over 100 years. Most believed it was dead, cold, and empty. But Arain believed the truth was different. He called his closest fighters and showed them the map. "This is their heart," he said. "If we break it, we stop them." Some were afraid, others were ready. In the end, they all agreed. Arain gathered every ship he had. His fleet was smaller than before, but full of rage. They flew across space in silence, using old paths and cold engines to hide their signal. After 10 days, they reached the edge of Earth's system. What they saw made them stop. Earth was not weak. It was a fortress. The planet was covered in thick rings of metal. Defense towers floated in the sky. Cannons the size of cities turned slowly, always watching. The oceans held black ships under the water. Giant towers reached from the ground into the clouds. Then a new voice came over the signal. "Leave now or be destroyed," said Fleet Admiral Nora Kane. Arain did not turn back. He gave the order. The Unity fleet charged. The sky turned red. Earth's defenses opened fire. Energy blasts lit up the dark. Ships exploded on both sides. Fighters danced across the stars. The battle was long and full of fire. Arain's ship was hit twice, but he kept going. On the ground, Queen General Laura Blake stood in the lunar citadel. Flames burned outside. Smoke filled the sky. She watched the battle from a high window. She did not look afraid. She whispered one word. Finally, when the battle ended, the Unity fleet was in pieces. A few ships escaped. Most did not. Arain was gone. His ship was lost near the final tower. Laura walked through the ruins of the city. She looked at her officers and said, "No more waiting. No more games. We end it now." Her eyes were cold. Her voice was sharp. "We're in the stars!" The stars were on fire. One by one, the last free planets fell. The human fleet moved without rest. They came from every side, cutting through space like blades. There were no talks, no peace, only orders. Surrender or fall. Queen General Laura Blake stood at the front of the storm. Her warship Iron Resolve was the first to arrive in every battle. She gave no warning. Her soldiers landed fast, took control, and raised the black flag of Earth. The galaxy was breaking. Some still tried to fight. Few small groups joined together near the center of the galaxy. They called it the Final Wall. Their plan was simple: build a fortress big enough to stop the humans. Arundel had once spoken of hope. Even after his death, his name still gave people strength. His dream became their last shield. The fortress was large, the size of a moon. It was covered in weapons. Around it flew the last ships of the Unity Pact. They waited, holding on to their last chance. The humans did not wait long. The battle began with fire and noise. Fleet Admiral Nora Kane led the strike. Her ships hit the enemy from 3 sides. Cannons fired in waves. Fighters flew between fire and steel. The sky was full of smoke and broken ships. On the ground, Commander Mason Holt led the final charge. His boots hit the metal floor of the fortress with force. He moved like a storm. Behind him, soldiers in black armor pushed forward. Room by room, they took the fortress. Inside the command tower, a young fighter tried to send a message. His hands were shaking. Before he could speak, the door broke open. Laura Blake walked in, her blade in her hand. The boy looked at her and asked, "Why do you do this?" Laura stepped closer. Her voice was cold. "Because we were never gone? You just forgot what fear feels like." She raised her blade. The message was never sent. When the battle ended, there was silence. The fortress was gone. The last of the resistance was over. From her throne aboard Iron Resolve, Laura looked at the stars. She spoke one last time. "Let this be written. We did not return for peace. We returned to rule."